Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode, actually to the first episode of the Texas Underground. I am your host, JVaz. This show is brought to you by La Conecta. We got stuff, we got air fresheners, we got fucking rolling trays, a little bit of everything. Make sure you guys check them out. Also brought to you by GT Distribution. If you're an independent artist looking to take your music to the next level, make sure you hit up gtdistribution.com and they'll help you take your music there. Hey man, joining us today, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, selfishly, like I was telling you earlier, as a fan.
Yeah.
It's dope to sit here in front of you, about to put him on camera for y'all. Fucking Southeast legend, fucking Houston legend in my eyes. Screwed up essay, young Saviola, Dat Boi T. What's up, man?
What's going down? What's going down, man? Hey, it's an honor to be here. I appreciate you, man. I didn't check out your show, your podcast, and it's live, man. And this new thing y'all got going. Shit, it's an honor to be episode 1, man.
Episode number 1,
Let's
man.
go.
Yeah, bro. Shit.
Slow lane.
Slow lane. Speaking of slow lane, talking about number 1, talking about the first episode and talking about slow lane.
Yeah.
I want to talk about history, bro. Okay. And again, this is just selfishly me wanting to sit down and talk to somebody that I grew up listening to and whatnot. So I would like to take it back to your very first project, Live in the Slow Lane. That came out 2009. And was that your first project, or was that the first project that was put out to the to the public, to the masses?
Yeah. First and foremost, man, I appreciate you being a long time listener, man. Like anybody who's even jammed one song of mine one time, like that means a lot to me because I put a lot into the music. But yeah, Life in the Slow Lane was not my first project. It was my first album that I put out on mainstream platforms. And that was January 1st, 2009, that project came out.
January 1st?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that much. I just knew in 2009, I know that was
For sure.
beginning of the year, getting it out the way.
Yeah.
When this project came out, were you already SUC, or this was?
Yeah, I got LD on the intro, I think. The intro's in that Texas, but right after that, I think LD is like track 2, and he's just going off, like letting people know what it is. You know what I mean? Like just putting his stamp on the project, and like a lot of that album was recorded in the Screw Shop. So, yeah, man. I mean, that was already after he, we already had been working for a few years, up until that point. When I was working on that project, because I had put out a couple mixtapes before, and that's when I had met him, and I let him hear the music, and I'd be at the Screw Shop every day, and just being a part of the whole process. You know what I mean? So when the album came out, I told him like, yo, I want you to just, I'm gonna just put an instrumental on, and you just say whatever you're gonna say, and If you pull up the album right now, you can hear it. You know what I mean? LD Speaks. I believe that's the name of the track too.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, bro. That's a long fucking time ago.
2009. So I mean, the album was worked on in 2007 and 2008, because it came out right on New Year's Day, 2009. So it was in the making already.
14 years ago, bro. That's crazy.
For sure.
That's wild.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like, whenever I had Lil Young on the podcast, I talked about how, again, growing up, listening to you guys' music, then you saw, the first Mexican out of Swisher House.
Right.
That was dope. So when we see, Dat Boi T, Screwed Up Click, Screwed Up Essay, to us, again, my group of friends and whatnot that we used to hang out in school was like, hey, bro, this shit is dope. Like, what I'm saying? And it becomes... After South Park Mexican get locked up, it wasn't a lot of artists that we wanted to listen to, I guess you can say, as far as Mexican, Hispanic artists. Yeah. So then when you guys started popping up, it's like, okay, it's like we got hope again. Like, what I'm saying? We got somewhere to listen to again.
For sure.
And I say that to ask this, man, just to talk about history. How did the whole connection with SUC happen?
Man, like I said, I was already working on music. You know what I mean? I already had a couple projects that I had, put out. I was out in the streets already, like, really hand to hand pushing out, my projects. Like this was at the time when it was like, actual burning CDs and, pressing them up and just taking them out, feeding them to the streets, out the trunk or whatever. So, I met him. He had heard my music, and we just kind of hit it off. And every day we started chilling. I was already going to the screw shop. I've been going there forever, but like I had never met him before. And when we met and he heard the music, he was just like, man, and he started, telling everybody like, yo, this essay go hard. You need to hear the essay. Like, this my essay. Like, he go hard everywhere we went. Like, man, you need to hear my little essay. So that's kind of how I went into it. And he, then he was, just kind of talking about opening his own shop, like his own screw shop. Like, there was the screw shop, the original screw shop off Cullen. But he was like, yo, I'm going to open my own shop, and he was opening it in the Southeast. So, he was like, man, would you be down to help and, run the studio, all that. I had already, the studio inside the screw shop, I had put the whole studio together. You know what I mean? Like, me and Big Bub sat there and piece by piece, and I told him, what equipment to buy, all that to be able to record and, drop tapes and all that. So, we had put that together. And then when Aldi went and got his location to open his studio, I ended up bringing my equipment in there. And we had a studio in the back. His shop was in the front, Screwed Up Records and Tapes. And we was just in there every day, like getting it in.
Yeah. See, that's cool. And again, this is why I like to ask these questions, because especially back then, we didn't have YouTube. And if we did, it was like at the very beginning.
Now, we did have YouTube. I was already on YouTube at this time. Like, when I was in that screw shop with Al D, I was already putting videos on YouTube of me and there rapping and freestyling and stuff like that.
But I guess what I was trying to say was we didn't know how involved you were with SUC,
oh,
right?
Okay. Already.
So it's to us it seemed as if, oh hell, he must have gave him his demo or something, and they picked them up out of nowhere.
Right.
So for you, when you start saying how you had been working with them, you had a studio and you brought it over to the new location.
Right.
That's what I mean. Like, it's cool to hear those things, because from the outside looking in, it feels as if he came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't know about that. Like, I don't just go around telling everybody that. Like, it's just something that just happened in my life. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And that's how I don't really just. I know that's like an epic moment in history, you know what I mean? But to me, it was just, that was my life. Like, I grew up, going to the screw shop since a little kid, you know what I mean? Like, I go to the screw shop all the time. So just when I met Aldi, it was just like family. Like, I knew him. I already had jammed his albums, you know what I mean? Like, and just for him to take an appreciation to my music and to tell people about it, and for the whole screw shop to just embrace me, like, that was really what meant the most to me, you know what I mean? Because I grew up on that. Like, I jammed that every single day of my life, listening to my Walkman jamming screw tapes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me to be able to be in the mix and know the family and everybody to just show me love, it was just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like, and what I want to ask you is, as far as like what got you into music itself, because again, whenever I got introduced to hip hop, I was born in Mexico.
Okay.
So my introduction to hip hop wasn't even Texas artists. It was like Delinquent Habits.
Oh, really?
I think where Delinquent Habits from? Where they from? I don't even know where they from.
There's some from Cali.
From Cali, right? Yeah, that was my
Cali,
introduction to hip hop, right? And then Cypress Hill.
Okay.
Then I come to Texas, and it's like South Park Mexican.
Right.
And then, as I mentioned, everything that followed after that.
Right.
Not being from Texas, when I got introduced to screw music, to me it was kind of like, damn, bro, like I didn't understand the concept. So in my head it was like, damn, bro, that shit makes me want to go to sleep, bro. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And then you hear the history of it. It was
Yeah.
like that was the purpose. It was kind of like screwed down,
For
And,
sure.
and I guess what I want to ask you was, who was the people that you looked up to, like that you listened to on the daily besides Screwed Up Clip? What was it that got you into? You know what? This is something I want to do, man.
I mean, it wasn't even just rap music. Like, bro, I just grew up just as a kid. I was just a fan of music, like any type of music. You know what I mean? Like my family jammed like the HTOWN music. That was really like my first introduction to music, was like the HTOWN music. You know what I mean? Like, and then hip hop came along later. Like, my mom introduced me to hip hop. My mom's from the Bay. You know what I mean? So my dad's from here. She's from there, and she was more like, on bring in like the Dr. Dre, the Snoop Dogg, like that whole West Coast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of both worlds. I got the Texas and the Cali world. So then I started listening to rap, and it was like I don't know. I just connected with it. You know what I mean? But some of the first rap music I listened to was like I said, like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre. Like this is back in like the '90s, and even like Bone Thugs, Big, Tupac, Too Short, A Ball, MJG. Like those type of artists was like my first UGK first introduction to music, and then it got, and then when I heard. I mean, I would get the screw tapes, you know what I mean? So it was just the freestyle. So I would hear the freestyles, and then I just, it'd be like a whole different level. And then when Lil Kiki dropped "Pimp the Pen" with DJ Screw, DJ Screw dropped "3 in the Morning" Part 2, it had "Pimp the Pen" on there with Lil Kiki. But that song is what kind of took that screw sound mainstream.
Yeah.
And that took it from this is the tapes I'm jamming in my neighborhood, and now I'm hearing this on the radio. I'm hearing this everywhere. So that was really when I just kind of fell in love with the whole screw sound, the Texas sound. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Lil Kiki "Pimp the Pen" was like what really set it
Yeah.
off. You know what I mean? That was the song, the one song. If you could pinpoint it to how I fell in love with screw music, was that one song. Aside from the screw tapes, like that song being on the album, the way it was mixed, the way it was blended, the way Screw brought it in, um, just that whole album, "3 in the Morning" Part 2 was just crazy. Like, it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
And you mentioned something earlier, and you were talking about how legendary it was to be a part of, something like the SUCs. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
To us, it was also a big deal to have a Hispanic on there. That's a big part of history that, as you mentioned earlier.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we have a Mexican guy with the screwed up click.
Yeah.
Around when was it when you felt like you were actually a part of it? Like when you were like, this is home. It's not just like a temporary thing. Because, a lot of people come and join cliques or, represent a certain label and whatnot, and then just kind of forget about it.
Right.
But at what point did you feel like this is really who I am now? Not just because grew up a fan of it, but because this is what I represent.
I mean, I would just say just to the point where I was there every day of my life for years. You know what I mean? Like I helped build the studio there. A lot of music that was recorded there, I recorded or I was a part of it being recorded. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, and they just embraced me. I was, like when you go to a screw shop, not everybody come to the back. You know what I mean? Like once they let me to the back, like that's when I knew like it was a different type of,
Yeah.
different type of situation. So, it was always respect. It was always like, I never took it for granted that I was able to be there or to be back there behind the gates and just, working on stuff and for them to be able to hit me for my, knowledge or my input onto, hey, what do we need for the studio? Hey, what do this and that, and then, putting it all together and helping with events and, just everything that was involved. I was there. I had my hands in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when Aldi opened his shop, it was the same thing. So it was just, when I'm there on an everyday basis and they consider me family and I'm there with all of them, then that's when I kind of just felt like. Like I said, it was just like normal life for me. It wasn't like, it just all happened.
Like, shit, I'm a day.
Yeah,
Like,
I never grew
I've
up.
been here.
I never grew up thinking it was gonna happen, or
Yeah.
trying to just go over there and like it just all happened, and then I was there for a long time, and still love to this day. Like I said, I just dropped this new album, and they slowed and chopped a new project.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure.
You mentioned being there for a lot of the recordings. I guess I would say, in your opinion, which one was the most memorable that you like? Damn, I was actually a part of this certain specific record.
I mean, I would say when I put out my tape, Screwed Up Essay, like that was recorded live at Screwed Up Records and Tapes, with the DJ, like Youngster pulled up, freestyled on it. Lucky was there freestyling on it. Shingo put up freestyling on it. Wood was there freestyling on it. Like this is live in the original Screwed Up Records and Tapes off Cullen.
Yeah.
So, but I would say my project Screwed Up Essay, the tape, DJ Lil Randy was the one that slowed and chopped it in the screw shop. And, I got everybody freestyling on it. It was just crazy. Like, we there. Like, you could look it up on YouTube. It's a vlog about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Mr. Fab was there. We brought Mr. Fab out. Like, it was just a legendary day there at the screw shop.
Yeah. That's dope. Again, this goes back to what I said. Like, a lot of this stuff wasn't brought to our attention back then.
Yeah.
So when you hear about it, it's like I didn't even know it was on YouTube.
Yeah,
you know
people,
what I mean?
a lot of people don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, man, yeah, people don't know the history. Bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's all there though.
Yeah, that's live, man. Because I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes without saying, bro. Yourself and a lot of our other, and I keep saying Hispanic artists, bro, just because I am proud of being, Mexican. So when I see people like yourself and I mentioned earlier Chingo and,
right.
Obviously Lucky Luciano, you guys have paved the way for a lot of these new generations. And it's something that I was doing a podcast with Krim from Hater Proof.
Okay.
And one of the things that we would always talk about was the lack of credit you guys didn't get,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The lack of credit because there was a documentary on Netflix when they talked about Houston hip hop, and they mentioned everybody and their mama except for any Hispanic rappers, right? And then we felt as if
Which documentary was that?
so it was a documentary that talked about every different city in every state.
Second one. On Harrisburg and Eastwood, and for whatever reason they ain't used
See,
it.
and this is why to me it's a big deal to bring it up as far as put an emphasis on the fact that not just are you a artist, a rapper, whatever people want to label you, but pridefully you guys are one of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, being that 15, 16-year-old kid, when I was listening to y'all's music, it was like I was proud of that.
Yeah.
I was proud of seeing somebody that looked like me doing something that I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we talked about the lack of, and it starts with us, right? Especially now that we know that I do media and stuff. It starts with us to be able to give you guys your flowers, acknowledge you guys that, hey, I understand the baby's doing his thing. I understand we got that Mexican OT doing his thing, and props to them. Not to take anything away from them, but let's talk about where it started, bro. Because this didn't just happen with OT. It didn't just happen with the baby and whoever else is doing their thing out here in Texas right now. It's something that's been going on for years. How does it feel to know that all those doors that were slammed in your face, and all the no's that you got, helped pave the way for a lot of these new artists, and not to say they are who they are thanks to you. And I'm just saying that because I don't want it to be taken out of context.
So.
But how does it feel to see that? Hey man, like everything that I did, and every time somebody told me no, or Mexicans can't rap, or whatever the case might have been.
Yeah.
But look where we're at now as far as hip hop is.
For sure. I mean, I'm happy, bro. Like like this is really what we fought for. This is really what we laid that foundation for. This is why I put out the mic pass. This is why I do what I do, just to let them know, like, hey, Mexicans are here too. You know what I mean? So I can't never knock, the new generation, all these boys doing what they doing. I can't take credit for what they doing because they hustled their ass off to get to where they at. They, obviously they grinded. They was in the right place. They linked up with whoever they needed to link up to, and they doing their thing. They getting their shine. You know what I mean? So I will never say, oh, it's because of me. That's why they're shining. But as far as like fighting for us to get our right to have a name in this game, yeah, nah, for sure. Like that was definitely at the forefront, if not right there, front line, just letting everybody know, like all the radio stations, the DJs, the award ceremonies, the bloggers. Before vloggers, it was the bloggers and all the people that did all the write ups, like, and didn't include us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I was there, and a lot of cats didn't want to do it because oh, you gonna get blackballed from the radio, or you gonna get this and that. But it's like, if I ain't gonna say nothing, who's gonna say something then? You know what I mean? So I had to say something, and now a lot of the people that I did say whatever I spoke my mind to, like, I got their respect today. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't nothing but a phone call to call these people and, hey, let me send you a new record. And these are radio people I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, come get it. I got them. People on my projects, or I'm calling them for different things. So um, it was kind of like I was putting my career on the line. I was sticking my name out, just to get our name out there. But now, years later, at the end of the day, now I got the same respect from the same people, for
Yeah.
doing that. So yeah, the Mexicans, and the way they're looking at us now in hip hop is a whole different way. They're not just looking at just two artists or three artists or a handful of artists nationwide. They're looking at 30 artists from Texas, 20 artists from Atlanta, 30 artists from Cali. Like, Mexicans are everywhere. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I ain't gonna lie, they running the game right now. You know what I mean? That's what's hot right now. If you
Yeah.
look what's on number one on the radio, is Peso Pluma and Bad Bunny. You know what I mean? Karol G. Like, ain't nobody topping that right now. Ain't nobody
Yeah.
topping Grupo Frontera and all these people that are putting out right now. Like, bro, they running the charts right now.
Yeah.
We're no longer the minority, bro. We're the majority. You know what I mean? So as long as we keep putting out music, keep being consistent, like, they ain't gonna have no choice but to embrace us and to show us love and to put us out there.
And that's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask, what do you think did it? Because obviously, before you guys, as I mentioned, we had the South Park Mexicans, we had Graham Shadow, everybody that was involved in that generation of hip hop here in Texas,
Yeah.
and it felt as if SPM did a lot to open doors, right?
Yeah.
But again, you guys weren't being accepted like today's generation is.
Yeah.
So why do you think you guys weren't being accepted, and what do you think happened to where it was kind of like